Okay, so we're sitting here talking to Dave X, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what is it you do for the project exactly?
I manage the fire safety team.
Okay, I understand you have a few words to say about fire safety, especially because, you know, occasionally people wonder that whether that might be optional in doing a large event.
Well, I was saying that fire safety is one of the most important things of this kind of event, where there's so much fire, because there's so many different levels that it could be important on. The first level is obviously to yourself. If you were to ever burn yourself and get burns hurt terribly, they're terribly disfiguring and scarring, and they could be a nightmare for the rest of your life, trying to, you know, eat with your burned mouth, and we all know even the tiniest scar can last years and years. So on a personal level, it's really important to always be safe. On a level of your friends, if you were to ever burn any of your friends or acquaintances and they're terribly scarred or burned or had to go through skin grafts or the part where they scrub your skin with a wire brush to get the dirt out of that, you'd feel really bad and really horrible, not to mention that they'd feel horrible with their injuries. And then there's also the level of the event itself. If you were to ever have a fire incident that was large enough to attract press attention, it would almost certainly ruin the use of fire at the Burning Man event. Just like the White Snake disaster, if somebody got burned by fireworks and all they remember is the band White Snake, if somebody gets burned by flame effects or fire performers, all people are going to remember is Burning Man. And then if you take it to a larger scale, if you really mess up with flame effects, people always remember flame effects all around the world, and it'll wreck fire for all fire performers everywhere. So there's all layers of responsibility there, from your personal safety, don't injure your friends and others, don't wreck it for Burning Man, and don't wreck it for all fire performers. It couldn't be a more serious issue.
Okay, so when you're thinking about something like a flame effect setup, I mean, do you have to look at the whole system, you know, where things are, like what thing can throw sparks on what other thing, what flammable things are in what relation to what other flammable things? What kind of processes go through your mind?
Well, we look at the whole thing. We look how the device is built. We look for applicable standards, whether they're electrical or plumbing or whatever trade is related to the manufacture of that device. First, we look at to make sure that it's mechanically suitable, that it'll function on a mechanical level using all those kind of standard trade standards. And then once we've determined that the device will work, we'll look at how they intend to use such a device. And if that's compatible, we'll look and make sure that they're not insane or have some kind of mental issues that would prevent them from using a well-made device safely. So there's layers to look at again, even with that. There's the mechanical, there's the how they're going to use it, and then there's their mental state.
So, for example, if there's, you know, propane flame effects, are they supposed to just be running unattended by themselves?
No fire should ever be left unattended, especially at Burning Man, because you never know what'll happen. A giant whale or a car could become beached on your fire effect, and people could be roasted inside like the George Foreman oven.
Okay. Are there any other, other kind of precautions when you're thinking through what kind of things are safe or not safe, or is it just that you have to look at every factor and sort of put it all together?
Look all the way down the line. Look at what's the worst possible scenario, like the ARC car getting knocked up on top of your thing, and try to account. I write out a fire safety plan every time I do a flame effect, and I describe what I'm going to do if an ARC car gets wedged on there. What am I going to do if the propane tank catches on fire? Address all the possible scenarios with yourself and your crew before they ever even happen. Do them on paper before you get to a part where it's an actual problem.
What about, I heard you talk something about contingency plans.
You should always have a contingency plan, and that's what I'm saying in addressing a problem before they ever happen. Think about what's the worst thing that can happen with this device. Then address that issue before it's an issue. Have a plan. If this tips over, I'm going to run over and shut off the gas. The other person's going to go over and put the effect out. Whatever your plan is, have it ready to go beforehand. Don't be making it up in the middle of your effect.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.